Hey, Rolling 20 fans, this is G, and I'm here to tell you today about a new sponsor for our show, Casey's Irish Pub. This is an honest-to-God Boston or Chicago-style Irish pub located in downtown Los Angeles. They serve cooked food, 11 kinds of beer, and 49 different Irish whiskeys from 3 different distilleries. What does that mean? That means if you're looking for a good drink during a Los Angeles convention, you don't have to go far. If you're headed to Los Angeles for E3, Kamikaze, Anime Expo, the Los Angeles Car Show, or one of the hundreds of events happening near the Staples Center, then a good meal and a glass of Guinness is just a short walk away. Jeremy, the loud guy who won't shut up when we do our own podcast, he actually ate there during the last Anime Expo. And he said this. Forgive me if I don't sound like the guy. I went to Casey's Pub looking for a place to bring people for a good night of food and found it when I was driving people on my way back to the Los Angeles Convention Center. We went back and I had the best steak pot pie in my life down there. My wife had a good whiskey to sip, and 8 of us had fun talking and eating in a place that looked like it belonged in a movie. Casey's just a couple of blocks from the Westin Bonaventure. That means it's close to one of Anime Expo's own shuttle stops. We're even hosting a photo shoot there during the 2014 Anime Expo. If you want more details on that, email us at mspfreight@yahoo.com. Hey, so do yourself a favor. And don't stock up on bad beer and try to mix something sitting at the desk of your hotel room. Ride the elevator, get off at the Bonaventure, and walk to Casey's Irish Pub to get some drinks by their bartenders. Make some new memories and have some fun. We want to see you there.
Hello, everybody. This is Anthony Be Honest from Mission Start Podcast. By the time you're listening to this podcast, a number of us will be out in the field. Some of us will be at Wondercon. Some of us are going to be at BabsCon.
And some of us be picking cotton, sir.
Yes. So, as you just heard, the voice of Jeremy's here tonight to talk about everything Wondercon.
I know, I spoke up and I could probably hear about 8 different people go, oh, God, not him.
But yes, he's gonna join us talking about all things WonderCon, a little pre-game show for the weekend. And if you're happening to be listening to this, say hi to him, or listen to this while you're going about, kind of figuring out what you want to do during WonderCon. But Jeremy, so this would be, what number would this be for you for WonderCon?
This would be my 4th WonderCon.
Okay. As previous WonderCons, this one is still, I believe, in Anaheim or in SoCal, I believe.
Yeah, it moved down there about 3 or 4 years ago. I'm a little hazy as to the exact dates, but what happened was it was in Northern California and doing, so-so for itself. And then they had a little problem. The venue was going under renovations, and they needed to find a place to roost temporarily, so they went to Anaheim. And as it turns out, Anaheim has done wonders for this convention.
Indeed. For better for worse, I think I might be staying. we had these talks before, but it feels like they're not moving back.
I'm pretty sure they're not at this point. I know a lot of people would like them to, and bully to you guys, but frankly, I don't see a reason for them to try anymore.
Yeah, it's been how long since they moved from NorCal to SoCal?
It would have to be 4 years, because 3 years ago is when I started going.
I see, gotcha. Yeah, it's just kind of funny how that worked out in WonderCon's favor, unintentionally.
I mean, it worked out in my favor for sure. There's a lot of people though that are pissed.
Oh yeah, everybody up in NorCal misses it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with good reason. This is a fun con so far.
Yeah, the only thing we have now, comic book convention-wise related, is the Wizard Comic Con thing, and that was meh. At least when I went to it last year.
You mean Sacramento, Wizard World Sacramento now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I was kind of hoping to go to that. The guest list at least was really good.
Maybe it's different this time around. I don't know. It's just my experience from going there was just kind of meh. But then again, it was the first year in Sacramento, so who knows? I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But anywho, we're here not about that deal, but we're talking about WonderCon and this upcoming weekend. So can you tell me your battle plans for this weekend?
I was going to be able to play it loose up until literally about 2 hours ago. It was just going to be me and Steve, another member of the Rollin' 20s, actually the other founder of the damn show. And we were just going to go to some panels, take a few cosplay photos and really take it slow. That was my plan as of this afternoon. As of this evening, the night zero of the convention, literally, I've been contacted by one guy who wants to do like a Green Arrow shoot, and then he's asking, what if I drag other people into it? It's like, okay, if you want to do that, fine. Like, I'm going to stop you. It's like, okay, and then how do I pay you? It's like, let's start with just getting to you first, okay?
Payment, you say?
Well, yeah, I'm offering people cosplay photos for just $10 for was it a maximum of an hour session, and try and get a good group of photos from that. But he wants to get some with other characters, and I am all for that, seriously. But at the same time, it's just I'm trying to just I was just trying to set him up, and he says I want to get other people. How do I pay you for that? It's like, well, let's slow down and worry about your photos, and then we'll get more. How about that?
Yeah, definitely. That's interesting. So some of the things it's kind of funny how slowly you became not only just a convention reporter, but like more a photographer over time, as you kind of develop more of the skills in that direction.
I'm glad you think it's funny.
Well, hey, look, I mean, I have my fair share of photography. Like when I took the class, I still do a little bit more on the video side for me, but yeah, it is just interesting to kind of see that evolution happen.
I guess. It's not like it was something I was looking for. I've always been more of a hobbyist, but, I've gotten more expensive equipment, and I appear to be rather personable. People like talking to me, so what the hell?
Definitely. So, you were speaking of some of the panels that you were kind of thinking about going to check out during WonderCon. Which ones are you planning to go see?
There's a couple signings regarding Batman and Robin I'm curious about. There is a screening of the 3D documentary Cosplay Dreams that's been scheduled.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
There's a couple other things that are going on. So, like I said, I have a general plan. I'm trying not to overload it, though.
Gotcha, for sure. Definitely. There's one of the things I learned over the years is like, and it's something I got to actually do tonight, actually, now I'm thinking about it. Is that if we usually plan these things out of like things we want to cover, things we're gonna go check out, and sometimes like some of those plans don't really fall through like half the time, at least for me. Like, cause I'll put down something like, okay, at 4 o'clock I'm gonna go check out the Kill Gathering, and then when that time comes around, it's just a matter of, do I really feel like it? It's like, meh, nah, I'm good, I'll skip on it, or I'll actually go and do it. So.
A little bit of behind-the-scenes stuff, and honestly, it's one of those things that can make reporting a little bit difficult. Not the fact that we don't want to see stuff, but just because, you do have to run yourself a little bit ragged to do convention reporting properly.
The key thing here, and this is some behind-the-scenes stuff, is that you want to give yourself a realistic schedule and not overburden yourself with so many things you want to cover. Because if you end up having to where you're literally on the move the entire day, and you're only giving yourself maybe like 5-10 minute breaks, you're doing too much. I appreciate the work, but like you gotta remember you're a human being. You gotta need some rest time to just kind of rest and walk around for a bit.
Yeah, but I am looking. WonderCon is definitely an easier walk around convention than its big brother convention, Anime Expo. And I say that simply because WonderCon does very good at cosplay, which is kind of unusual for comic book conventions. There is a lot of talented comic book and semi-pro cosplayers that show up to this one.
Interesting. Would you?
And I think I was going to say, I think it's because it lands in this very unusual place where it comes in right during spring break, and it's between several other conventions. So when people are looking to stretch their cosplay legs, they don't have a whole lot of options.
That's true. That is true. I do forget that it is spring break for some people out there right now who are in school. And yeah, WonderCon kind of fits the weekend. On top of other things happening this weekend as well.
Yeah.
Interesting. I was gonna say, like, would you consider the kind of level of cosplay at WonderCon is as equally as good as, say, like Anime Expo or Anime LA type of level?
I would put it above Anime Expo, pretty much, I'd say on par with ALA, and maybe a step or two below Fanime. If you're asking for my personal measurement, and those that know me know that I think Fanime is just king when it comes to cosplay in California.
I would argue that, but I'm not going to.
That's a conversation for another day. I don't want to start an East Coast West Coast thing right now.
Right. But yeah, okay. That sounds pretty good. Pretty high praise. Is there anything
Particularly?
Yeah.
I like that one.
Is there anything new that is standing out this year at WonderCon than previous years? It could be anything. It could be special guests. It could be an event. Like, what exactly is standing out to you this year than previous years?
That's an interesting question. I haven't really tried to look for anything standout so far. The guest list is usually fairly strong. Not exactly perfect, but it's at least an attention getter. And there is actually I don't know if it's the 75th, but it's an anniversary gathering of actors from different eras of Superman shows and movies.
Oh, nice, awesome. I wonder.
So that.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that kind of stuff creates an aura of maybe I should go see that.
Mhm. I'm thinking maybe is it something that they're kind of building up to, like. As far as I know, like at least at Comic-Con, like they're probably gonna show something for Batman vs Superman. I was wondering, like maybe this is kind of something like a build up to that, maybe, or something along those lines.
Possibly, although there is a curiosity that was announced, and that is Marvel is actually attending WonderCon this year. They usually seem to skip out on this for some reason.
So the plot thickens.
Yeah, that's not something anybody expected, I think.
Interesting. So for those who don't know, director, who was it? Director of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
James Gunn.
Okay, yeah, James Gunn. He recently announced, not recently announced, but he was answering some questions on his Facebook Q&A. And somebody asked him, like, are you attending Comic-Con this year? It's like, I'm probably not because Marvel's not going to be there either. And since then, like, people kind of ran with that. It's like, what? Like, and there has been this big curiosity in terms of, like, if Marvel's going to attend WonderCon, going to attend Comic-Con. And there has been no word yet. And it perplexed me that they're not going to be there if that's the case, and that would just be crazy. But to hear that they're going to be at WonderCon, and this would be you said the first time, or one of the rare occurrences they do appear at WonderCon?
Yeah, normally Marvel Comics skips out on WonderCon for unknown reasons, but this time around it appears that they do actually intend to attend WonderCon. They made an announcement a couple months ago, and I wouldn't say that's out of character, but it is unusual for what people know about it.
That's interesting. It's on top of this, on top of what, rumors that if they're, they are not going to be at Comic-Con this year, which would be ridiculous. But it makes the storyline a bit more interesting right now in terms of like how that goes. Yeah, like it's interesting. I can't fathom them skipping Comic-Con. I just cannot fathom that.
Well, I mean, again, this is Marvel Comics, not Marvel Movies. Marvel Movies, I don't think, has made a definitive announcement about WonderCon, and the schedule seems to be pretty full, so I don't think there's room for too big of a surprise. For Marvel Movies to skip out entirely on Comic-Con, that's like half your audience right there. I don't think you want to miss out on that. So,
Interesting.
Would James Gunn be invited to every Comic-Con? No, the guy has another movie to write, for fuck's sake. I just heard that he finished the treatment on Guardians 2, and now they're working on the script. Maybe he's a little too busy to attend, but I don't think that means just because he hasn't been invited that other people will not show. There's right after Comic-Con is when Ant-Man comes out, for freak's sake.
Yeah, definitely. And on top of that, like Deadpool was just announced to be rated R, and like I'm assuming that they're gonna show something of Deadpool there. It's crazy. Like I
don't know if they'll have anything to show. I think they just started filming. Pictures have just come out as of today of what's his name, Ryan Reynolds as not Deadpool but Wade Wilson. The cancer victim.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it is definitely a very interesting thing happening within the world of comics, and having them show about WonderCon only plottens it only thickens the plot. Man, I am out of it tonight.
No, it's okay. We'll give you a quasi pass.
Yeah. So, getting back to WonderCon, is there anything in particular you're looking forward to in terms of like anything you want to buy, or kind of something you're looking out for?
Honestly, I'm one of those people that I'm very into Desert Wind Comics and their services when it comes to signatures. I am thinking about buying a copy of the variant to Miss Marvel #1 because that character has blown up to an unbelievable degree, and it was recently announced that after the Secret Wars event, whatever it is over, what do you call it? Sorry, I blanked there, but this new Miss Marvel, the young one, is going to be a member of the new Avengers team post-Secret Wars.
Interesting. Yeah, because that's happening pretty soon, isn't it?
That should start in about 2 months here, if my count is correct.
Oh, man, I'm actually pretty excited for that. Wow. Okay. Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, like, there's definitely has been, Miss Marvel has been a pretty popular character as of late, that people are kind of grown attached to. This new
it's gone insane though. The popularity of this new version is just off the charts compared to what all the guesswork was about. I mean, there were people complaining that this new character was just a way to indoctrinate kids to Muslimism, and other people were pissed off that her domain was Jersey City. People pick the weirdest things to bitch about.
All right, yeah, definitely. But isn't she like what, like in her teenager years right now? Like, isn't she like?
Yeah, she's going to high school and she's trying to deal with the fact that her religion says she can't eat pork and shit like that.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, okay. It's interesting though. They put her in part of the Avengers. I wonder if it's gonna be. I don't know what's gonna happen in Secret Wars, to be honest, because I know they're resetting the entire universe pretty much.
I don't think they're resetting it. If I had to make a guess, and hopefully there will be something about this at WonderCon, I think they're streamlining it. The Marvel continuity and everything is cool, but when it comes down to it, if you think about it anyway, it's a little complicated, and it doesn't feel a lot like the cinematic universe, which is arguably the thing that's really making them money right now. So they may be looking to align the two and make them a little more alike, so that people will be more likely to gravitate to both rather than one or the other.
That's true.
Or even worse, just have comic book nerds tell movie fans that they don't know what they're talking about just because they haven't happened to have read 60 issues of what the fuck ever.
That's true. I could see him doing that to make it more of a better experience. Like, hey, you watch the movie, you can also now read the comics and see what happens with afterwards. Because then something similar happened with what was it? With Captain America 3 with the Agents of Shield TV show, where the events that happened in the movie kind of carried over to what happened in.
You're stuff like that. Yeah. Well, I think we're on two different subjects technically, but I am concerned that if I don't watch Age of Ultron pretty soon after it comes out, there will be an episode of Agents of Shield where I'm going, wait, what the fuck? How'd this happen? What are you talking about? Because that happened to me with Winter Soldier. The events of that movie happened, and I'm watching Agents of Shield, and all of a sudden they just said, and the helicarrier crashed into the Triskelion, and nobody's seen the Avengers. It's like, fuck, what?
Right, definitely. Yeah, it's interesting. I can't wait to see what happens. But yeah, Marvel is gonna be there at WonderCon. It's gonna be showing some new stuff. I wonder if we can make it. No, I doubt it. I doubt they'll make any announcements at WonderCon.
I don't think they'll make any major announcements at WonderCon because too many announcements before the Secret Wars will definitely drop too many hints as to what's come after Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and they can't reveal too much of that story yet. Give it about another month, I think they'll get more serious about selling us something, but I wouldn't put money on it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely. So, as you know, every year, like every other major convention, it grows. Like the more people come and attend. Um, in terms of WonderCon, since it's moved, it has grown in size.
Oh
Um,
God. It exploded. When it was in Northern California, it was doing about 20,000 attendance. You know, nothing to sneeze at, nothing to complain about. But since they moved down south, I don't know what it is about the Southern California market that appeals to both vendors and fans more than the Northern California market. But in 4 years, this has exploded to a convention of near 60,000 people.
wow, that is nuts. I wonder what exactly it is that sparked like everybody to go to WonderCon in SoCal versus everybody in NorCal.
It could have to do with several things. One, I love San Francisco, so please, anybody up there, do not kill me for this. But San Francisco is a hard city to get around if you are not from there already. And I'm not talking traffic. I mean just the direction of the roads and a lot of one-way shit and all the hills and everything. It can be a little bit disconcerting and a little bit, you can more easily feel lost in that town than you can in other sections of California. Two, I think a lot of the vendors are more likely to be based in Southern California than Northern California.
Yeah, I can. I could definitely see that.
I don't even have a great reason why, other than the fact that maybe it's just because the temperature around here is so much more predictable, and when it gets cold around here, cold is like the 60s. You know what I mean? So people are still able to go out and shop with a light jacket instead of bundling up in heavy coats going, oh my God, it's 4 days straight of rain.
That's true. That's true.
And besides which, I think you can say the same thing, Anthony, since you've been to ALA a couple of years now. It's easier to cosplay down here when the temperature doesn't get below 50 too often.
Right. I agree, although with the exception of this past year, where it actually did rain.
Hey, it rained, but, it wasn't cold rain,
Yeah,
a lot of people were still doing the do.
Yeah, that's true. Very much true. Yeah, like I definitely get it. Like up here, well, it is nice at times. It is definitely San Francisco within that Bay Area, so you get that cool breeze from the Bay on top of it, either be raining or either be cold, and it gets you to the bone sometimes. So I definitely agree. I definitely can see how in Anaheim it's much better weather purposes, and just much, I guess, a better location for people to go.
Well, it's also in a wonderful place. It's in the Anaheim Convention Center, which housed about a dozen anime expos. Mm-hmm. And that place has had so many renovations. I don't think they've had any more work since I've been there last year, but it works much better for larger crowds now than it used to.
At what point do you think, because like right now it's at a pretty good spot with the attendance, and as we know from most popular conventions, they grow every year in terms of attendance. At what point do you think that Anaheim's going to look, or whoever's running the convention, to expand or to look in terms of like what they want to do with the amount of space that eventually will be filled up?
I think that's a brilliant thing about where they are now. Over the last couple of years, they have not used all of the Anaheim Convention Center. 1/4 of the exhibit hall has been empty during the last couple of years.
Wow.
So they've left themselves room to expand, and the convention center itself is starting construction on an expansion in the near future of more meeting space.
Oh, nice.
So okay. I think this is a place they can roost probably with their level of growth for about, I'd say easily the next 4 years, as long as they think ahead.
That's cool. Okay. All right. I can respect that. That's cool. Okay. So
you weren't expecting that answer, were you?
Well, like, yeah, no, I did not. The funny thing is, like, usually when we have these conversations, like, usually, like, eventually they'll get to the point where, like, okay, like, they've outgrown this convention. Like, are they gonna expand it and move somewhere else? And then it's like, oh, they're expanding it already, and they're looking ahead. It's like, oh, that's new.
Yeah, I know the conversation often circles around to Anime Expo when it comes to conventions, but that's because I've been to that convention for over 20 years, and it's kind of the benchmark I set in a lot of different ways. But the people running WonderCon in San Diego, if it's one thing they're very good at, it's planning for the future. They're not just looking at how how to make this year work. They're looking at how to make the next few years work.
Nice.
And I don't think Anime Expo thinks that far ahead.
Interesting. And the general thing about just anime conventions or any convention for that matter is that most of the time, at least from my experience, is that it starts small, gets bigger, then moves to a bigger venue. Then over time, people come to it, gets too crowded, move to a bigger venue, and then, or they expand it. So it's always that kind of that rhythm or that kind of that thing that conventions do. But for this one, yeah, and WonderCon is expanding, so.
Yeah, I was going to say there's an unfortunate fourth option like Auto Assembly did and just decided to close.
Mm-hmm. Of course. But yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Now, I can't ask you to look into the future because you're not a mind reader, but I'm going to try and...
Oh, you can ask me and everything, but be aware, if I could answer that question honestly, I would win the fucking lotto.
Oh, man, everybody would. So, are you expecting to see any particular cosplay, I'm going to say cosplay group, but like a series of cosplays that are going to be more prevalent in this convention than others? Like right now, like in terms of like popularity within comics, like, Miss Marvel is one that is very popular right now. Like, are you going to see a lot of Miss Marvel cosplayers, or it's going to be like a lot of like Batgirl cosplayers? Any particular?
Well,
one?
let's get the elephant out of the room. Let's get the elephant out of the way right now. I expect too many Deadpool cosplayers.
Of course, especially with the announcements.
Yeah. I expect a fair amount of Harley Quinns just because it's a combination of very simple and it makes fanboys go crazy. Mm-hmm. Although I'm thinking that with Age of Ultron upcoming, I'm expecting to see more than a fair share of Avengers in general.
Yeah.
Because you know how movies are. When people think their character's more likely to get recognized, they drag it out. Mm-hmm. If I had to guess what character might show up that is low on difficulty but high on recognizability right now in fan circles, I'm thinking I might see more than a few Daredevils.
Yeah.
That series should start
true.
this. I believe that series starts this Friday the 4th.
Awesome. That is yeah, definitely. Like Daredevil is just starting pretty soon, and I would expect to see some Daredevil cosplays for sure pop up.
Yeah. For those people that aren't aware, Netflix signed a deal with Marvel to produce 4 mini shows or 4 single season shows and a mini series in order of Daredevil, aka Jessica Jones. Let me see. And then it was, I think, Luke Cage, and then Iron Fist, which culminates in a, I think, 5-episode mini of the Defenders. They're creating a new street-level team off in their movieverse out of internet TV shows. Mm-hmm. And the first show comes out this month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's definitely a good time if you're definitely a comic fan in all areas, in my opinion.
It's a great time if you're a fan of Marvel's New York stories, because they're about to bring out 4 street-level superheroes who aren't just, they're not just Batman ripoffs. I mean, Luke Cage could rip the head off of the Absorbing Man if he really wanted to. Then you got Iron Fist, who's trained to control the Phoenix, and Luke Cage's eventual wife, who is kind of like Wonder Woman with a better sense of humor.
Awesome. But yeah, okay. I definitely agree with your picks. Just out of curiosity, what would be like the most obscure cosplay that like maybe 1 or 2 people will get at WonderCon?
Forbush Man.
That'd be good. That'd be awesome.
It's not as dirty as it sounds, trust me.
If it were me, like I would pick Calendar Man. Like, if that would happen, that'd be cool.
He would have been obscure except for those stupid Arkham games.
That's true. It's true. But okay, that's pretty awesome. So you're staying for the whole weekend, correct?
Yeah, I leave early tomorrow, and I arrive early on day 1, and it goes through this Sunday. Okay. And I'll be leaving that Steve and I will both be leaving that afternoon. Okay. But I do expect to meet up with a few people. I got an invite to talk to the director and art director of the Cosplay Dreams 3D, documentary. I also I got asked by Abby Normal to help her with more photos, and I expect to see a good number of people out there.
Awesome.
The only difficulty is that since you're right there at Anaheim, every time you're bored, you're just thinking, I could go to Disneyland.
The temptation is there. I can definitely
Yeah,
see that.
I know. It's just the idea of, but would I pay $100 for 4 hours of my time? But I'm already at a convention, so it kind of goes in a circle.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can definitely see that. So I just looked up price-wise for some of the badges. Not bad. Actually, I think they're cheaper than I expected, to be honest.
Oh yeah, $55 for a weekend is a pretty good deal when you consider that this is the company that runs Comic-Con. The only problem is though, if you haven't bought badges by now, you're SOL. They are not doing at-con registration.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. They right now they still have 1 day Friday badge or 1 day Sunday badges.
Yeah.
It's going for $27 for Friday and then $16 for Sunday. Which still, again, that's not bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah, WonderCon is not one of those things you can decide at the last second you're going to go to. You either made plans or you're just on the outside looking in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is like a small taste of what Comic-Con will look like when it happens in July.
And I'm looking forward to bringing Steve to this. He hasn't been to the Anaheim Convention Center since Anime Expo '99. So
okay.
he's going. I would like to get his take on all the changes that are occurring out there.
Okay. What are the first things you want to show him around at WonderCon?
What would I like to show him? There's a vendor out there called Jay's Comic Books. They sell graphic novels out there for insane frickin' discounts. I swear to God, you can get the entire AVX miniseries hardcover for $35 from these guys.
Wow, that's really good. That's really
Yeah,
really
I picked up a Civil War paperback for $25.
Nice. Wow. Oh, nice.
Yeah, as a result of the last few years of comic conventions and unfortunately finding these guys damn near every time, I now have most of the major Marvel event books, or I should say graphic novels, from Avengers Disassembled all the way through to current.
Nice. Awesome. The one thing I will say is that at WonderCon, and this is not something I learned from the past, something I'm going to relearn when I go to Comic-Con, is that there are lines for almost everything. In terms of, like, if you want to get in line to buy a toy, you got to get in line to buy a ticket in order to hopefully get, picked to be in this other auction to get the toy or to auction for it. And then like in other cases, like you said, Marvel's going to be there. Any other particular big companies are going to be there, just out of curiosity?
We Love Fun usually has a good selection of nerd shirts online. They mostly have booths at Comic-Con events. I always like to flip through their stuff for a few minutes, and superhero stuff is going to be there. They have booths at like every major convention they can find. I'm trying to think. I think Funko's is going to be there with more of those weird pop figures that just creep the piss out of me. They do. They're creepy with those gigantic heads and the soulless eyes, man. They freak me the hell out.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, like, I'm not really much of a fan of it. I appreciate what they are, but I can see the creepiness in that.
But, comic book conventions, you don't go for vendors so much as you go for gems. It's hard to know who's going to hold what that'll be of strange value to either you or just a high dollar monetary value.
That is very true.
I flipped through one guy's books just to get a comparison of some of my own, and what did I find out? I majorly undervalued my comic collection. I have some stuff in there I didn't expect to be worth that much.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. It seems like it's a... I don't want to quote, like, it's a Wonderland type of deal, but it's like almost like...
Oh, boo!
I mean, it's like more or less like kind of going into like...
It's kind of like nerdy Tomb Raider. You had no idea you were going to find that until you stumbled across it.
Yeah, I was going to make a reference to, what was that movie? I am totally blanking out with...
National Treasure?
No, Harrison Ford was in it. It was back in the day.
Star Wars.
No, Indiana Jones. There we go.
I was going to say American Graffiti next just to piss you off.
But yeah, like...
So it's a lot like Harrison Ford. As soon as you get in it, next thing you know, you crash in the middle of a golf course and everyone marks on how wonderful of a pilot you were.
Exactly. But it sounds like it's a lot like kind of finding out, what golden gems and whatnot.
Yeah. Except that WonderCon manages to be much more fan-friendly than Comic-Con is. Comic-Con, as much as people call it, a convention. Let's call a spade a spade. It's a trade show.
Oh yeah.
It's there for all the big companies to show off their shit. WonderCon has more fan-friendly events. It has a much more open feel, and it has places where cosplayers can get together that isn't at the back of the frickin' building.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I mean, like, I can't. The only comparison I can make is my time at WonderCon was still in NorCal. It was very much that very same feeling where I was walking around. Other cosplayers were just kind of taking pictures of one another, and it was like easy to get from one end to the building to the next.
Yeah.
And it was it was a fun time. There were lots of stuff. And
yeah, and I was going to say I expected to maintain that feel because I've now dealt with Comic-Con staff for the last 3 going on 4 years solid, and they are highly professional. And the last couple times I visited Anaheim in recent memory, their staff has been very professional too, surprisingly professional since fan cons usually get short shrift at a lot of places.
Agreed. Out of curiosity, like, are you gonna any particular like artists that you are looking to go see at WonderCon, or are you gonna just kind of see who's there and it's like, oh, you're here? Can I?
I am going to pack a few books just in case I need signatures, but more or less I'm winging it.
Okay, that's awesome. I still I still have it in my room in here, but like I remember when I went to the Artist Alley part of WonderCon up here when it was up here, and I got a print of somebody who drew the Conan O'Brien character. I forgot the character's name, but like
Coco or
no, it was like they literally wrote him, like they literally put Conan O'Brien's character in the Young Justice cartoon for like an episode or two.
Okay.
And hang on, I want to say it's the Crimson. I want to say it's the Crimson Chin. I don't think it was that. Actually,
and that's Jay Leno.
Yeah. Comic. Okay, let's see that brings up. Yeah, this totally makes perfect. Yeah, I found the picture. I just cannot remember the name of it. Oh wait, there it is. The Flaming Sea. There we go. That's what it was. Yeah, somebody made a kind of like a comic cover of it, and so I was like, I had to have this. So I got it. It's still with me. I'll probably put it up when I move.
That's sweet. That's actually something I want to look for because I was telling Steve that something I got into while looking at the artist's work during Long Beach Comic Expos. I may start collecting sketches.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. One of the other things I do love about these conventions is like the artists in terms of their work and what they do, because their stuff is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But let's see. Other than that, though, I can't think of anything else in terms of, because majority of the stuff that we're going to talk about is going to be, after the fact. But this is more of a, kind of a prelude to all things WonderCon this weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure pretty soon you'll hear me complain about how tired my feet are and how much money I lost and all this bullshit.
Yeah. I would. I have a feeling that like, I have a feeling like all like you, me, and like, whoever else is covering the convention this weekend will all feel the same way like afterwards. So it's like, how was your weekend?
How's that weekend? I'm poor again.
Yes, I've been there. Side note and funny story. So Fanime one year, I think it was like back in I was still in college, but like I was going to community college. Anyways, one year I came in with about $400 in my pocket, and I ended with zero by the end of Fanime that year, and I was broke. And I was like, wow, I just blasted through almost $500 worth of stuff.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It's okay. Jesse went with me to last year's Kamikaze, and we both agreed we were on a budget. And he comes back to the room the first night, and he's carrying like 3 large bags. And I said, "What happened?" He said, "Well, I was looking for some Transformers." That doesn't look like some. He said, "Yeah, I'm done." I said, "Okay." So, I call him late in day 2 because we have a photo shoot and we're going to go to dinner after that. And he comes back, he's carrying 3 more bags. I said, "I thought you were done." "So did I." "Okay, Jesus." You know, and then Sunday night after the convention is done, we're waiting for Monster Mash to do a photo shoot, and you know, I'm just kind of standing around, and I call him. I said, "Where are you?" He said, "I'm right behind you." I turn around, and he's fumbling because he can't carry his phone and 2 more large bags. It's like, dude, are you okay? He said, "No, can you eat?" I think so. Oh, God.
I have a problem. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you, Jeremy, for joining me for this impromptu podcast about WonderCon this weekend.
No problem.
And for those of you who want to follow you or find out where you are, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me doing 5 to 10 at Chino. No. No, I'm with Mission Star Podcast. We do a weekly comic book related podcast called the Rollin' 20s. As a matter of fact, we have an interview coming up in a couple weeks with a young lady gamer known as Dally. She's a Twitch streamer, and we want to ask her about some issues regarding female gaming and a couple other recent events that have come up. And on May 3rd, we are recording with the voice of Flint from G.I. Joe, Bill Ratner. He's actually coming on the show to talk to us for a little bit, so we're super excited about that one.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. As Jeremy said, you can find his podcast along with this podcast on our website at missionstarpodcast.com. Expect to see some footage, video footage up on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/missionstarpodcast1. It will be up and it will be probably next week, and it'll be a lot of BabsCon coverage, as well as other things in the works. We've been secretly working on some cool shit coming down the pipeline. You can follow me personally on Twitter at DefectiveNaruto, and pretty much just keep a lookout on what's to come in the next couple weeks. I think after this weekend, I can initially say like it is. Do you think this is like the beginning of the con season, or would that be like more towards like Fanimes, like the initial start?
It depends on your outlook. Because I staff at Anime Los Angeles, I see every January as the beginning of freaking con season. I think of September as the slowdown, you know. But if you're looking for that period where I just feel like strangling myself and like, you know, several other people, that would probably be Fanime through to freaking Kamikaze, frankly.
True that. But yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of stuff to be covered, and it should be a lot of exciting adventure for a lot of us.
Oh, God, dude, it's going to be a busy summer because you've already got people confirmed now at 2 conventions this month. You got Fanime, which is a major, like, MSP team event, and then you've got Anime Expo after that, which is going to drive me freaking insane. And then the weekend after that, the weekend after Anime Expo, I have to pack up crap and go down to San Diego for Comic-Con.
Yes, which a good number of us to be down there for sure to go cover. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be very, very crazy. And it's gonna be interesting at the same time.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank